can hear Lalita saying that. Jenny, hurry up, hurry up. Good morning. We're talking about the chair reparation. It's good to have you on Hits 92. Good morning, Lalita Davis Mattis. Lord.
Morning to your listeners as well.
Thank you. I'm always grateful, always thankful. So it's good to have you on this day. We're talking all sort of excitement. So when I look on the front page of the Gleaner, and I want to read a little bit for you as the reparation chairman. I'm wondering how you feel about this. It was great seeing you, by the way, at the welcome ceremony for
Wonderful, wonderful event.
it was. It really was. And I didn't realize it was in partnership with the reparation. Do I say committee that Minister Grange?
Yes, National Council on Reparation.
All right. So it was wonderful that minister managed to fuse that. I thought that was that was like a in terms of putting it together. Raheem is here because the prince invited him, and then the reparation committee was there. Yourself, Dr. Vereen Shepherd, and her husband, and I think a number of other persons from the committee were there. At this event put on by Raheem was invited by the prince. So that for me was interesting how that worked for you. You're about to say something, Lalita. Go ahead, please.
Oh, you go right ahead. No, I'm saying that that's what minister does. You know.
Yes, she fused it well. She fused it well. So my question though, front page of the Gleaner today. Not sure if you get your Gleaner yet, or you can go online. Well, let me read a piece for you. All right. So it says abhorrent. Prince William says slavery should never have happened. Chastened by public protest, and I think you were part of that, right? You were part of the group that was protesting, correct?
No, no, I wasn't trying to, but we are sympathetic to those who protest, and we understand
All right.
to understand the other part that the state invited and so had to host as well.
All right. So, chastened by public protests against Britain's rule in the transatlantic slave trade and centuries of colonial exploitation, Prince William expressed regret Wednesday night, that's last night, on the Jamaica leg of a Caribbean tour for the atrocities of the Black Holocaust. And you can read more in terms of, he says, I want to express my profound sorrow. Slavery was abhorrent and should never have happened. The Duke of Cambridge said in a state dinner address at King's House. I strongly agree with my father, the Prince of Wales, who said in Barbados last year that the appalling atrocity of slavery forever stains our history. Very powerful lines. How you feel about, because I remember talking to Golding, Empress and her husband, and they were saying, they've never had an apology, and we want an apology. Do you think this is enough and sufficient for the apology?
I think it's a very interesting. This is very interesting how this is unfolding, and let me tell you why. People may ask, why an apology? And if you look at the CARICOM 10-point plan, we have actually demanded a formal apology. And I don't know, Jamaica's past, many of us would know that we have in the past written to the former colonial masters to demand an apology. And the reason why, and we didn't receive it. So the reason why an apology is important is for the state itself and the head of the state to say, yes, what we did was wrong. And for Britain to say, yes, what we did as Britain was wrong. So I think it's a good start, and I don't speak necessarily on behalf of the council when I say this. I haven't read the article. There's a difference between a statement that something is wrong or was wrong, as opposed to a state coming out and saying what we did as a country, as a people. Even though, and I know there's an argument, that in the same way which there are some persons who feel that we, foreign Jamaicans, didn't suffer any wrongs with our ancestors, the same way in which some persons in these countries believe that they did not do anything wrong. It was their forefathers who did something wrong, and therefore they shouldn't be apologizing on their behalf. We have taken it to another level. What we're saying is, you as a state and the head of the state must recognize your participation in the atrocities, and therefore a full apology. Now, when you apologize to someone, you're saying, I'm sorry. You're also saying, I was wrong. You're saying, I am sorry. On behalf of my people and my ancestors, I am sorry. I was wrong. And if you're sorry and you were wrong, then there must be some compensation, whatever that form may take, that will come after that. And if you just bring it down to the basics, the when you apologize to someone, you do something. It's like you repent and then you say, I am going to repair the wrong. So the whole notion of reparatory justice is really not just about money. It's not just about, oh, I'm sorry, etc. The bottom line is, when we think about ourselves as Black people, and I said in another discussion recently, that we have always been defined in a manner in the way other people define us. So if people call us Negroes, if they call us niggers, if they call us people of color, if they call us Black people, that's not our description of ourselves. That's always somebody else describing who we are. And because somebody else can always describe who you are, then that perception almost becomes all pervasive, so that you have racial discrimination, but you also have racial defamation. So for me, a formal apology from a state, and I think this is a good gesture. I'm not working it down at all. As I said, these are my personal views. The state now needs to respond. And when we talk about reparation, it's not about we have moved on. Of course, look at us. This is 2022. Look at us. We have moved on. And we have moved on in spite of. But that doesn't mean that because you have moved on, you don't need the repair that you need. And I'm going to give an example. Um, we have abuse in Jamaica, and it may be a bad example, but I'm going to give it. So you have human trafficking, and we know from our stats that many times persons are trafficked from their own families. That's I think we have said that in Jamaica as well as globally. And we also talk about these things. Some of them are intergenerational. We talk about molestation, etc. No, the fact that it happened in the family does not mean that the victim and the victim's children who may be affected by it should not be a participant of some kind of a repair program. Whether it is that you're going to prosecute the offender, whatever that means. But it doesn't mean that because the family member did it and the family member is wrong, that doesn't mean that the victim must not benefit. And it also doesn't mean that if my mother didn't didn't get it, that I should not pursue it on behalf of her. And it also doesn't mean that because I'm suffering, that I shouldn't go and seek some kind of. I'm not even going to put compensation, because some of us are of the view that it's all about money. That's not it. And let me say one more thing: the continued defamation of the Black race. People might say, okay, racism is racism. That's true, but the Black race is particularly discriminated against, and we all know that. And we all know that we live in this space. But at the end of the day, this whole business of chattel slavery and what happened and the extent to which our ancestors sweat our blood built the industrialized nation, these are facts. These are not historical, assertions.
I'm going to jump in there now. So I give you a nice long time, because, sometimes Anika call me and bun me out and they say, don't give my guests a chance to talk. To see so good I was today. Tell me something I get ill, Alita. Tell me. All right. So I was in a class with Dr. Sun and she was so livid. I don't know how she finished the class, because I am not in support of reparation. And I want to make sure I state that, because I think it is unfair. It's unfair to William. It's unfair to Harry. It's unfair to them to be apologizing for the atrocities of the 16th century and the 17th century, things that their ancestors did, which were inhumane, and you just cannot even fathom that people could think the way they think and treated humankind, flesh and blood, as if we were nothing. No, we were defined as properties because we were not defined as people. And I am saying, I think it is unfair that we ask them to apologize for the atrocities of the past. Very unfair. I also think if it is we're going to be asking the white people to apologize for what they did to the black people, how do we fix that it's the black people who caused slavery to thrive? How do we fix that it's another tribe that sold another tribe why slavery thrived? How do we ask them for apology too? And if it is we're talking about apology, shouldn't the bigger apology come from the black race that imprisoned, enslaved, locked away so that the white man could snatch us and take us on the transatlantic slavery? Shouldn't they be doing the bigger apology? And the next thing that I want to know is, how do you value that? How do you compensate me for loss of land, for loss of my royalties? So many kings and queens and people were royal, people came here and then they became shackled. They became enshackled, but not just that, they were animals working on your pasture. How do you pay me for that? Can it be repaired? A reparation? How do you value that? And who gets more? How do you spread the value? That do I get more because I'm darker? Does Simon and my husband, they get less because they're lighter? I mean, should we not just let it go because there is no way to repair that past and just strengthen where we're going as a nation, as a people, as a colored group? Because I don't think you never can fix me for the rape, for the death, for what you have snatched, for what you have taken. I mean, even if it is you're talking about a number of persons in our society who are doing very well because they are living on slavery money. So they're past, their ancestors. Some of the very rich that we have, they were colored children. So it's hard for people like us to even catch up with them because we're talking about old money way back to slavery. Isn't reparation a waste of time?
No, so let me answer that very quickly, and I'm going to say a resounding no. And I'm going to also respect your view as well, and the views of many of our own colleagues and of our own, our own people. That is a view, the view of Africa. We can't deny that, and that's why I gave the example. We're not saying that Africa had no role to play because we couldn't have a trade. Or people came from Africa. But there's also, if you look at the CARICOM 10-point plan, there's also an African knowledge program. There's also a program of the whole notion of repatriation. There's also the notion of the African Union. There are also those dialogues taking place, those discussions that really speak to that particular issue. But the reason I made the example, and the example I gave was to explain the role of Africa. In other words, if Africa is our motherland, and if the trade emanated from there, in the sense that we came from there, it also doesn't mean that they're not they're exonerated, but it doesn't mean that the victims, which are us, don't need some kind of compensation. And as I'm very clear to say, compensation is not so much in the form of money. Because if you look at the 10-point plan, there are many things. But let me say, I think we need to, and of course you can't fix that. I mean, and that's what reparation is not about. It's not about fixing us. You can't fix us after how many years? How are you going to fix that? But it's also seeking to right some of the wrongs. It's seeking to build those relationships. It is seeking to this whole race defamation is a real thing. What are the images of Black people globally, and it's everywhere. It's in your face. You're traveling, and they come around to collect money for UNICEF, and you look in the package in the magazine in front of you in the front pocket. So who is there? What are you collecting for? So I'm saying these images and the whole notion to, what I think the most of us forget is the continued perpetuation of. So in other words, you may not be lynching us, and that's questionable because lynching takes different forms. I mean, we talk about George Floyd, and there are many other George Floyd. So what I'm saying is that the institutions are continually perpetuated. And so that's how we talk about reparation. So it's not about, okay, today is the 5th day of May 2022, and there is a formal apology and it's all over. That's not what it is. And let me also give another example why we are insisting on repair and reparation, and it goes with forgiveness too. And I remember this having discussions, and people are saying yes. And in the whole notion of reparation is also forgiveness on both sides. So you see, if you use the example now of you getting a house that is so that the foundation is so bad, that's another example I've used. The foundation is so bad that when you got the house and you had to live in it, you couldn't fix the foundation. So you keep adding, and the foundation is still bad. And that's what we have, because remember, we were always, for example, producers. Now, yes, Jamaica is celebrating 60 years this year, and you may ask yourself, so where have we been, and what have we done with the money and so on, and we have had all kind of aid. That's true too. That's true too. But in other words, let us not forget. And I'm not saying that we must carry these things in our hearts, but the truth is, we are still suffering. And that's why the reparation is important. And I also want to say this: this is an intergenerational thing. It's an intergenerational thing. The same way in which developed countries are still thriving, are still denying, they're still denying Black people equality. That's a fact. That's not a made up story. And those of us who travel a lot, those of us who live in those countries know that. There's a greater struggle. What reparation is also about is about saying, look, we have been that, done that, we have been here. And we have moved on too. Because there's nothing at all. I mean, if you think Jamaica alone, we have moved on. But the bottom line is, it does not deny the victim the right to be compensated.
All right. So
Straight law, the bottom line is that even if you do me wrong, I can come against your estate. If you just take it like that.
yeah.
So look at reparation in a different way, and why it is, the genesis of it, and why it is that we are saying. That too has to be a continuous process.
All right.
Maybe we're going to ask them for money every year.
Yeah.
In terms of how we treat ourselves. And thank you very much.
Yeah. You hear me chipping in because you take longer than we expect, Lalita. Me, you could have talked from yesterday to eternity, I love it.
Man.
I love it. But Lalita, I mean, I agree with it. It's still too first, it's so complex, and it's so vague. I mean, like if it is, we can get specifics. Like we say to England, every year we need 200 scholarships. I mean, for how many years of slavery we've had? Like over 200 years of slavery. Okay, so for 200 years of slavery, we need to make sure on your books. Like, No, but we take too long to get there with the talks. We don't understand the reparations. So like we're asking for money. I want back lands. I don't even know what it is we are asking for.
Can I just say one?
You have 10 seconds.
The National Council is, the minister last year, I think, they announced a policy. So what we're trying to hammer out is all those things that you just mentioned. What is this thing when you put it on paper? What are we really talking about?
Yeah, but you're not kidding. No, but you're still gone to learn it. The average man can't understand what I say. So then if you make sure, say the average man, because Xavier, you understand anything she just said? You understand? Him say, no. Xavier, please, and please up the mic. God, Jenny don't like Xavier. Do you understand when she explained reparation what she was talking about?
No.
I mean, I tell you, me a teacher to Lalita, them when I talk over people them head, and then it's so vague. First, when they say it include getting something, then it include okay, but we're not talking money. Then if it's not money, then what is it? Get specific.
Jenny, nowhere in my conversation did I say we're not talking. I said it's not
all about money. Oh, so it includes money too. And if we get money, how we share it? It's too vague.
Share up, either. You need that.
So what we're gonna do with it?
You don't need a sustainable fund so that the children them 100 years from now can benefit from something.
All right, so when you put the document together, think of my child who is 9 and make sure she can understand the document. And then you reach everybody.
Our mantra.
All right. Big up yourself. Yeah, come on. I promise. Blessings every time, Lalita. Love your spirit so much. Loving her spirit, loving her truth. Do I agree with her message? No. I still don't understand where we're going with it. And you have to tell me how we're gonna use some of the present to fix some of the past, because I still don't see how you can right or wrong. I don't see it. Anyways, that's all the talk for the morning. It's Thursday talk. We got more music coming where that's coming from. Y'all stand by for more. Wagwan Chanel. I say that me like about you. You're not afraid to tell the truth. Your ignorance should not embarrass you. It should empower you to know more. So I'm glad say they around me. I know say talk truth. I'm not afraid to say you understand or you don't understand. Yeah, man. Teach and I know them people say them understand something and them don't get it and them quite go to the side. No, man. Tell them say you don't understand it, because how it's going to fix it. So come back.
Orders provide proper invoices for customs when presenting goods for examination. This could prevent delays during clearance. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency.
8:30. And Xavier, you know you're in charge after this, right? They play some commercial and then baby love you alone.
Need a crazy attack. You see me, me's a real G, real go-getter. My life moves non-stop. So me have to stay link.
Yeah, you understand it?
My connect.
You understand reparation, Chanel? Having listened. You understand it? It's still too vague. And when you ask them for compensation, how them going to pay it? And who will benefit from it? Oh, you know, so many questions. Them can't fix the rape. Me no want no. You can't even apologize for that because who apologize never did rape with ancestors.
Good news.
So
private HIV care is now more affordable.
To be continued.
Health Connect Jamaica.
Chanel to be continued.
What that means is you can access
wait for the breakdown. Yeah, me tell them.
Doctor.
Them talk about you see because it's a whole heap of doctors. You know, the people that push reparation, they are professors and doctors. So we're going to learn how to bring them language down. So common man can understand. Ready? Is it, hey, are you commercial?
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the
who taught you to do that? Oh! Big song. I love that song from Pentatouche. So tell hey Xavier, raise up here again. I'm from the black race. Look at my black face. Black race. You see my love. There is no disgrace. I am black. I have to embrace my beauty black. There is no disgrace. I am black. Do you appreciate the color on your face? It seems to me you hate your skin. Black man emancipate, oh yes, born among the slave. Remember that black men once were kings. I'm from the blood. You see my blood. There is no disgrace. I am black. I have to embrace my beauty black. There is no disgrace. I am black. Do I love myself? I don't want to be no one else. Black woman, you are a queen. So why you gotta look self-esteem? I'm from the block. You see my blood. There is no disgrace. I am black. I have to embrace my beauty black. There is no disgrace. I am black.
Here's a story told to the children of Africa.
We love the children of Africa. Teaching the children. Da, 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 da. Boy, black eye, black hair, black skin, black queen, stand majestic with the black king. Today I'll sing you a black song. You need to hear about beautiful black things. Cause most time we hear about black, we hear about black magic and black witches. Black list, black book, black market, black Friday, spend all your black witches. I've never seen a black in black, nor seen a black bill secure a black people. But I've seen bush doctors like Josh and Molly resurrect like a real black people. Malcolm, Marcus, Martin. When you see white, I brought the asking. Oh, you know, hear about how we laughing. So when the little offspring asking, tell them they never told us that black is beautiful. They never told us black is beautiful. They never told us that black is beautiful. They never told us. They never told us that black is beautiful. You won't behave when I go on like you never spent 500 years on a farm. The same chain you are wear when I go on is another black life in Sierra Leone. Boy, find out how my earth got golden. They might know how my earth got golden. You work hard just to get a black yard team. You are doing swipe pipe up your black golden. Well, I see no faces long. But this is not a racist song. This is a song for the children who was never told about where the race is from. You never hear it in them favorite songs. Everybody calm as the slavery's come. But I go on when the babies come. I start read about things like no guns, black chemical push. Black things, black senate and books. But teach about pyramids and put real significance to your physical looks. So every word when we sing black. In my world, everything black. Black, white, black, right back. So don't be surprised if we see me king black. Cause they never told us that black is beautiful. They never told us black is beautiful. They never told us that black is beautiful. They never told us. They never told us that black is beautiful.
What you want and what you will, working for your dollar bill. Sad to see the old slave mill is grinding slow but grinding still. Walking home, a youth gets killed. Police free to shoot at will. Sad to see the old slave mill is grinding slow but grinding still. 9 to 5, you know the drill. Weekends are a short and thrill. Sad to see the old slave mill is grinding slow but grinding still. Up run it over till it's filled. Take until they've had their fill. Sad to see the old slave mill is grinding slow but grinding. Some of us think we're too big. God the system gives us jobs, even though it's just a low paying gig. Some of us will boast and brag, but those of us who think we're smart, just because we don't have much, it's really not the case at all. It's riches that the flesh can't touch. Some of us won't respect names, some of us won't respect laws, some of us won't respect life, even though we worship God. And some of us won't let go faith, no matter what the price may cost. Some of us won't practice hate, because we still believe in love. What you want and what you will, working for a dollar bill. Sad to see the old slave mill is grinding slow but grinding still. Walking home, a child gets killed. Neighbors free to shoot at will. Hurts to see the old slave mill is grinding slow but grinding still. 9 to 5, we know the drill. Weekends such a short with thrill. Sad to see the old slave mill is grinding slow but grinding still. Up run it over till it's spilled. Take until they've had their fill. Sad to see the old slave mill is grinding slow but grinding. Most of us think we're too good, just because material gain. If we were living as we should, the less of us would be in pain. Those who are misunderstood still deserve a voice to claim. Things that are still meaningful, each and all of us the same. And some will say the cups are full, and give your thanks for what we've gained. And some will say there's much more way to go, and then we tell you that straight up and plain. Some will think outside the box, and some of us will hold our lanes, and some of us will write the facts, and some of us have chopped down cane. Boy, what men won't and what they will, working for a dollar bill. Sad to see the poor slave mill is grinding slow but grinding still. Walking home, a child gets killed. Police free to shoot at will. Hurts to see the poor slave mill is grinding slow but grinding still. 9 to 5, you know the drill. Weekends are a short if thrill. Sad to see the poor slave mill is grinding slow but grinding still. Couple run it over till it's still. Take until they had their fill. Sad to see the poor slave mill is grinding slow but grinding still. 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 Yeah. Give us the teaching of Marcus Garvey. Cabernet means glory of kings. Give I and I Selassie and keep the images of lies for yourself. People without a vision perish like suicide. You tell me it's not about color, still you refuse to take the picture off the wall. All you do is trick the brothers and keep them confused. They don't know who to call on in this spiritual war. Now tell me of a paradise in the sky, but that's a lie. And now tell me I was born in sin and shaped in iniquity, and love created I. Look how many prophets tried to open our eyes. You can't fool me.
It's 92 FM.
Look how they're treating us. New millennium slavery, hiding the chains and still beating us daily. Now we're mentally rising to fight with black skin. Bleaching at the ending, far out and far in. Sin. You tell me it's not about color, still you refuse. Take the picture out your books. I know that's not how it looks. Kush. All you do is trick the brothers and keep them confused. They don't know who to call on in this heretical war. Don't tell me of a paradise in the sky, then that's a lie. And don't tell me I was born in sin and shaped in iniquity, but love created I. Look how many prophets tried to open our eyes. You can't fool me. I'm a bit.
Wallen Xavier, Black we say, love yourself we say. Sandy 7, love yourself. Nice. Kete Pande. Merci.
Through this valley of test, and I never been a weak heart in the wilderness. God
preserves I, guiding in all I do. To climb through the ice of the depths, we trample frustration and become stress. God preserves I and guides in all I do. So the evil stand in me.
We love that DJ.
Hits 92 FM. Through this valley of test, and I never been only caught in the wilderness. God preserves I, guiding in all I do. So running through the ice of the depths, we trample frustration and become stress. God preserves I and guides in all I do. So the evil stand in me on and go back where they came from. No demonic words perform shall prosper. Yeah, I tell you behind the science not come. Come, just squeeze the lion bomb. No demonic words perform shall prosper. Blessing is ever living a life. So for meditation in the high. We'll weather the storm and put up a fight, cause we can do anything. And should you feel like giving up, let the strength of your ancestors fill your cup. The power of God preserves life and guides in all I do. So the evils that feel me home can go back where they came from. No demonic words perform shall prosper. Yeah, I tell you that the science man come, cause him can't squeeze the lion heart. Can't touch a lion. Stay strong. Roaring lion. And the more them are idle up, at the more them is wild up. Yes, the more them come with science, though they can't break the heart of a lion. The more them are idle up, at the more them is wild up. God preserves life and guides in all I do. So the evil stand in me on and go back where they came from. No demonic words perform shall prosper. Yeah, I tell you behind the science man come, cause him can't squeeze the lion bomb. No demonic words perform shall prosper. No evil that need me harm and go back where they came from. No demonic words perform shall prosper. Yeah, I tell you behind the science man come, cause him can't squeeze the lion bomb. Can't touch a lion. He's so good. Yeah. Oh, Lord. I was buried alive, but I'm still breathing. I don't know what tomorrow may bring, but I got a feeling I am alive. There must be a reason. I was given one more chance. My heart's still beating. Buried alive, but I'm still breathing. I don't know what tomorrow may bring,
I got a feeling. Oh, I am alive. There must be a reason. I was given one more chance. My heart still beating. All this time I've been blind, only running against the wind. Friends of mine pass with time. After living a life of sin, how many give up, many give in. It's my determination to win. I survive the worst of times. I survive.
As I pick up every time you all the survivors, you're not stop trying, you're not giving up in the Gideon. Sun Fresh laundry detergent with the freshness that lives up to its name. 3 times the freshness, 3 times the clean. The time by Sun Fresh laundry detergent. 10 before we get up to 9 o'clock. 8:50 it is. Good morning to you.
There must be a reason. I was given one more chance. My heart still beating.
I know about you, but my heart is so breaking this morning when we think of the one child only picnic murder days before parents' wedding. No, that wedding's still gonna go through. No. How is a mother even gonna think about saying I do without her son? How you do that? And all he had was $1,000 and a phone. That's what you wanted. You're gonna take it and go on. How has it led to the death of this promise, 16 years old? Oh. What do you do? So somebody's in custody. If the person is guilty, what do you do with it? How you punish the man if you take the woman's heartbeat? Kenwood Williams, only 16 years old, a 10th grader puppy in high school. Oh God, man. It's like slavery, like how you fix it, you can't. And she perhaps will never heal, so we just send her the comforter. Oh God. You know, just take the phone and the $1,000 and go on, man. You take the young man's life. What you do with it? The person them having a custody. Are the right person them having a custody? Say them have the right person in custody. What them fit do with it? Huh?
roof right over our heads. We'll share a shelter, yeah. Oh, yeah. Of my single bed. We'll share the same room, yeah. Push up the piles of bread. Is this love? Is this love? Is this love? Is this love that I'm feeling? Is this love? Is this love? Is this love? Is this love that I'm feeling? Please don't you rock my boat. It's nice to cause I don't want my boat to be rocking. Rock my boat. Oh, please, don't you rock my boat. No, cause I don't want my boat to be rocking. I'm telling you that, oh. I like it like this. So you can stay like this. And you should know by now. I like it like this. I like it like this. Ooh, yeah. Satisfy my soul. Oh, yeah. Every little action, there's a reaction. Oh, can't you see what you've done for me? Oh, I'm happy inside all the time. Oh.
Yeah, Maverick. Now let's tell me if I can color today. Yeah. Jenny color me not today. Jenny color me not today. Ready for my show. Ready for my me not up on it. Jenny color me not this morning. Skip up back, Marley. I will get it live.
Can't you see? You must believe me.
Oh, I got it. See, that's Jamaica live. You see? I mean, see, that's how I mean that. People listen to me slim and shit. I'm not talking, not talking. You see? See, that's Jamaica today. Jamaica today. Party? What's your party people want to go? I'm not going to see them. I'm not going to see them today. Dennis Emmanuel, bro. You. They can't do that. All the music, where you get them from? You don't know them. Quality. Or you don't know them. Where you don't know them. Where you don't know them. Where you don't know them.
Sometimes we get them off a fee. Yeah. Them off, yeah.
To the promised land, to the promised land.
We don't know that for YouTube. You have one convert back to
yes, the quality not so good. Yeah.
It's 9 o'clock.
Yes, it is.
And Mr. Xavier talks in the music there. He make a rocks and brown can't sit still. He make a moral come up on YouTube. He never do that yet and pose and rock on YouTube. And them song they know inspire, empower.
What thing?
Where's it?
What
Man, no
thing?
come for YouTube, Jenny.
You know, say clear grant a card. Yes, the brand is the card. I'm getting broken for that things away. Broken all card. Right, Tracy, if you didn't see the way you say, but the governor general, I know you come in here. I don't care. Tell Xavier, say anytime you don't fire shot in here if you're running up. Type of words. Look here, Xavier, good job, Xavier.
As usual. As usual.
Hey boy, you got some class or some A student.
You're gonna make him head split up him headset, you know. Them compliments.
No, man, so after we talk about reparation this morning, Xavier got some black music, you see.
What you say?
Yeah, man.
You mean with Prince William thing?
We link it. I know they want apology and what exactly is reparation. If you get money, if you get you get more than the people that were look like Margot Ling.
Yeah.
I mean, what exactly is it? And when they shit down, let me ask you.
So you did an interview with someone?
Yeah, man, you couldn't miss it, man.
I did.
You go back on YouTube, it on the YouTube page.
All right.
But when we're done, me use Xavier as my student. I'm going to ask, do you understand what you said? He said no. Stop laughing, man. No, but me tell her she prison like she talking to get everybody. You have to imagine that you're talking to a PEP student and you press to reach everybody else. Long time.
One thing I know about communication.
Yeah, right to the people that left a man.
We talk to
right this so everybody can benefit from the conversation.
to watch Bobby Fair the sports commentary.
Me think what about you every time, you know.
Me used to say no people can understand it.
Me never understand a word. Me used to sit down and listen with my dictionary.
And fling the thing about people them.
Yes. No matter how it sound pretty.
Or break it down to the.
I know everybody get it. Everybody get it. Look here, I'm afraid of what I say.
Get bright on them.
Oh no, I hear you, darling, and I'm proud of you. My learned side, when I hear you switch gears, I say, you go, Tracy.
Out of you today, you know.
You did. Tell me.
Yes, because you guys were a case in Portland.
Oh, yes. Monday. Powerful.
I used to them hold the child abductor guy.
Yes.
Last night.
Yes. No, while I was there at case.
Who do something say, man? Tell us if you run.
Why?
Are you the one, Jenny?
Oh.
Are you the man of the one?
My person not young enough. So here the thing though, while I was at case, I heard the whispers of the plans afoot. No, because they're saying apparently he's from that area.
Apparently his parents, I was reading something this morning, his parents apparently they're domiciled in a.
So what the police did, which was smart, is to bring in all of those relatives while they were trying to make sure they get him. So that's how he was locked in or in hiding.
I heard it was that place, and I remember that you guys were.
You were there. No, man. So we hear the talk, man, that they were planning all of that, man, but we never say a word. They said, come, we did hear all of that with that case. So them plans are foot, you know.
Until Xavier said for running up.
Until Jennifer stayed here. Go down. Yeah, like a spice. Question. You think Xavier can outrun me?
No.
Okay, over to you.
No.
Big up yourself.
Quite frankly.
Don't talk.
When trouble.
Yes, Xavier have talk. Come over here. I know I'm proud of you and I see in your shirt. Nobody can wear Jamaica shirt like you. We have a whole wardrobe, my youth. No, I'm proud of you. I'm about 6, but you beat me up.
It's match day Thursday.
You think I got win me like what Simon said? Simon said we have 1-1.
Yeah, it's a
You think we got a draw?
game of academic importance for both teams.
No, you think we got a draw?
Both teams are probably about even.
Oh damn! So you agree to we got a draw?
And I assume that the Salvadorans will be.
We can't draw. Hurt at a space we cannot draw.
Hurt. That's the thing. Two hurting teams.
Right, over to you. Can't wait to hear what you have planned.
Now, big up yourself, Jenny. The sports explosion brought to you again by Cars Manufacturing, where quality joints affordability. Fueled by the great product, Cars Tomato Ketchup. It's the rich and thicker. Problem solving. Of course, Pioneer Meat Products.
But Marvin, you have me for all levels, so you're not good. Big up yourself in a Korea. Everybody,
full guaranteed quality in your plate.
Heading to hotel. I'm going to a resort. Watch my life.
All right,
You see
John
where I'm going.
Foster.
I mean, know you're going to
right
walk
there on the roster, man.
out. Know you're going to walk out.
What you do? You good?
I tell you later. Check it out. 12 o'clock.
You happy
Live
with
on
Prince William
IG
apologies?
and FB.
He said
Listen.
that slavery abhorrent. You feel better? You feel better? You feel better?